This is Jim Fair, and I'm here today with the seventh in our series of brief webinars on the communications principles of Regnum Christi. And today we're on principle number 7, and that deals with personal relationships. This is a reminder of the 10 principles that everything we do communicates, that we communicate in a proactive, positive, and respectful manner. Number 3, transparency, telling the truth. 4, listen, dialogue, be open. 5, family first, which means that when we have important information, we do our best to share it with our own members before the rest of the world. 6, solid communications and relationships with people within the church. 7, today's topic about personal relationships. 8, that we're catalysts for cultural changes. 9, that we maintain professionalism and international collaboration among the territories in our communications. And finally, number 10, that we respect the distinct nature of the various communications channels. So let's look at number 7 today. Personal attention is one of the core principles of our apostolic labors and a fundamental way Regnum Christi works. We seek to establish working relationships with friendly, reliable people working in the media, as well as others who may evaluate us critically. And of course, working with the media is primarily something that the communications office does, but we have many other relationships that we have to maintain, and we do that in a very personal way. The way that we operate is person to person, but that's not only to evangelize, it's also to maintain other relationships. This is relatively a simple process when we're talking about one-on-one relationships, one person dealing with one other person. But person to person also involves groups dealing with each other, many persons dealing with many persons, and then it's more complicated and takes a little more thought and planning. Now here is one way that shows a lot of relationships. This is an org chart from the Department of Energy and shows all those different relationships and inter-office authorities and directions and all kinds of things here, boxes and arrows and stuff. And fortunately, we don't have this complicated an organization. And it doesn't have to be this complicated to maintain good relationships. Still, I think any of our localities, institutions, apostolates needs to have a relationship map. And by that I mean sort of a guide to the different constituencies, the different groups that that particular institution or apostolate works with or believes has a relationship to it, and how it's going to maintain that relationship and who is responsible. Now, there are several dozen different constituents that could be included in this depending on the activity, but at minimum you would have diocesan officials and parish staff, the local clergy, government officials, news media, participants in the program, and of course our own members. And you could create a relationship map that would show who each constituency is, how you're going to maintain that relationship, that contact with them, and who's responsible. Now, this is just a sample, just a very small slice of what could be a larger relationship map. This would be a school, and you'd have 3 groups here at minimum: parents, students, and faculty. So the parents would be communicated with through weekly email and an open door policy where parents can come in and talk to the person responsible, who in this case would be the head of school. Another relation would be with students, and you might maintain that relationship through daily announcements and monthly assembly and casual talk in the hall, and that's something the dean of students might be responsible for. And finally, you have the school's faculty, and the relationship there would be maintained through weekly staff meetings, one-on-ones every so often, and just the casual conversations that occur on a needed as basis. And the principal would be responsible for that. This doesn't have to be complicated. It can be pretty simple, but it's important. It's important that we maintain that person-to-person relationship with the people that are in the institutions that we interact with. So think about your relationship map, no matter what your role is, and how it can help you to maintain a good relationship with those various people that can have an impact on our ability to evangelize and serve the church. I hope this helps. Thanks a lot, and God bless.